You're diving into Vision 20 Editing. New company with their services providing video editing to get your video perfect in exactly the way you guys are looking for. They also do audio mastering, where they're going to take your audio and make it crisp and clear. They're bringing your vision to life. That is right. At Vision 20 Editing, we want to make sure that your vision comes to life in the way you want it. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Vision 20 Studios. Now let's get back to the True North Racing Podcast.
I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Time to strap in, pull those belts, and get ready for an action-packed episode of the True North Racing Podcast. Are you ready to unhelmet your favorite racers? Get ready for the most fun you'll have outside the racetrack to get you ready for the next race. You're listening to John Morrison and Megan Mitchell, and this is the True North Racing Podcast.
Back to a new week of new episode of the True North Racing Podcast, brought to you by Vision 20 Studios. My name is John Morrison. Joining me as always is our amazing co-host Megan Mitchell. Megan, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited because this is now episode 2 of our lead up to Friday Night Thunder. You guys just listened to Aaron Turkey a week ago. This week, as Aaron's for a special treat, we got Allan Downey joining us. Last year, he was running in the crate division at Oswego Speedway. This year he's moved up to the 360. We are going to have so much fun talking with him, asking him about how he's enjoying the show, racing this year, especially with moving up a division. It's a big learning curve, though. It's just a different motor package. It's still a lot to learn. But I hope you guys are ready. Megan, are you ready to do this?
Ready.
All right. Before we bring in Allan, we're gonna check out his clip from Friday Night Thunder.
We were a rocket that night, picking off one car after another car after another car after another car, and to build something in 6 hours and have it be that fast was incredible to me. I've never driven so hard in my life. I just wanted it all to work out. I wanted all the effort that everyone put in be rewarded. And I ended up 5th, pulled into the pit, and everyone was cheering and really happy, and I was hugging everyone. It was a win. It was a 5th place result, but under the circumstances, it was incredible. And it also helped me mentally, because when you get hit at 100 miles an hour, it leaves a scar in your mind. Like, it's not fun, like, it hurts. And it plays in your head, and you gotta kind of force it out. And to be able to jump right back in a race car the next night, to push that aside and say, I can do this, I can get back to being able to race competitively with no limits. I think it was really important for me mentally to be able to do that and to push aside the incident.
All right, now we're sitting down with the driver, the number 19D in the 360 sprints at Oswego Speedway, Allan Downey. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having me on.
No problem. We're excited to have you because, one, we are doing a whole bunch of these mini episodes. They're not a full episode for us, leading up to Friday Night Thunder, which you are a cast member of. So let's just get right into it. How did you get involved with the production of Friday Night Thunder?
Yeah, so I'm actually kind of a latecomer to the show a little bit. Because they filmed season 1, which I wasn't a part of. That would have been my first season racing ever. I joined in 2020 as part of the cast of Friday Night Thunder, and we're currently filming our 3rd season with them. It's been a wild ride. It's been so much fun.
That's awesome. It's I've been getting really excited for watching this show. I'm gonna, like I've said before, I haven't been I've been able to watch any of the episodes before, but I'm now making it a point to watch this season when it comes out on September 8th. But before we get into too much more about the TV show. How's your 2023 season going so far?
Yeah, so this is my rookie campaign in the 360 division at Oshweekend. For the previous 4 years, I've been racing the crate sprint. It's been as expected. I'm going through a lot of rookie pains. It's just the class is so talented. There are so many phenomenal drivers that the talent level is just ramped up 100 times from what I'm used to. And then on top of that, the setups are just so much different. They're so much more sensitive than the crate sprint division. So we're learning, but we're definitely through trial and error. We are learning the hard way. We've kept our nose pretty clean, knock on wood. No big incidents or anything like that, but just a lot of tough nights, just trying to figure out setups and race and be competitive with some of the best drivers in the country, if not the world.
Mm-hmm. So what's that been like moving? Because you were in the crate sprints before. What's that been like moving up to the 360s, and what changes have you noticed?
Yes. So one thing I really noticed is, and this isn't a knock against the 360 division, but it's definitely much more cutthroat in the 360 division. The crate division, most of the teams hang out together. They really enjoy traveling together, having a good time. They have a chat group that's hilarious and should have its own show at sometimes. But then the 360 division, it's a lot. You're stepping up. Like this is as close as it gets to professional racing for us, at least, without actually going on the road. So it's been pretty badass at the same time, because I really love that. I'm a former lacrosse player / competitive hockey player. I was drafted professionally for lacrosse. So I get this gig. I totally get it. I get why people are a little bit cutthroat and just, a little standoffish a little bit. I totally get that. And so that's been an adjustment that I've noticed. As for the cars themselves, it was shocking to me how different the exact same chassis. So if people don't know, the crate engine and the 360 engine, they're two different engines, but the exact same chassis, same car when it comes to sprint cars. And it's been shocking to me how different the setups have been and how the car feels with a 360 in it, as compared to the crate. So I would just say that the cars are a lot more sensitive when you have that much horsepower. So we're talking about the crate has around 390, give or take. A good 360 engine, we're probably in around 690, 700.
Wow.
So it's a big jump. It's a huge jump horsepower wise.
I'd say so.
Yeah, the cars they're just wild. They're animals. And so it becomes really sensitive to fine tuning, which is, that's been a big learning curve for us, but it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I've definitely been watching you for the past few years in the crate division, and it was nice to hear when I heard that you're moving to the 360 this year. I was like, that's going to be a good change. I think that's going to be a little more. There was a lot of people I think moved up from crates to 360s this year. Was there not? There's a big rookie class this year.
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably the biggest rookie class that Oshweekend has seen, maybe ever, but at least in the last few years. There's been, Eric Gledhill and Darren Dryden and a few others, Lucas Smith, myself. So Bowman, there's a whole bunch of us that have jumped up from the crate sprints into the 360s.
Nice.
That's awesome. Moving back towards the show, like I want to, obviously we kind of touched on a little bit earlier here, how you joined the cast in 2020, in that era there. How were you approached to do the show?
Yeah, so I guess hanging around the track, being an Indigenous driver at the racetrack. Clinton Jeffrey, I believe, put Friday Night Thunder in touch with me and basically approached me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in being part of the cast?" I had seen them at the racetrack. I had seen them filming, and it's always kind of awkward, seeing other drivers doing their interviews and having a camera in their face all the time. And so what I did at the time was, when I was approached and got connected with the Friday Night Thunder, and in particular Laura, basically I had a meeting with my crew and my family and just asked them, "Hey, is this something you're interested in doing? Is this something we want to be a part of?" And they jumped on board. They loved it. My crew thought it would be a great experience. I think it's great exposure. It's been a blast. I mean, being on Friday Night Thunder, they catch you at your best and they catch you at your worst. And that can be the hardest thing about it, is when you want to crawl in a hole and just disappear, and you've had a bad night, or things didn't go your way, or you wreck, or whatever it might be, you make a silly mistake, there's a camera in your face capturing every moment of it. And so that can be trying at times, for sure. But then we've gotten to know and fall in love with that crew that puts that show together. They're amazing people, and I know you interviewed them, and it's a lot of fun. We've kind of created our own little family, and so I've really appreciated the moments that they've captured. For instance, one of the first episodes that I was a part of in season 2 actually captured a moment with my dad. Just before I started racing in 2019, I had never been in a race car before. My dad and I just decided, we're going to do this. We've never raced before, didn't know anyone in racing, and we decided we were going to put together a crate sprint in 2019. Well, just as we were putting together that crate sprint to go to Auschwitz, we found out my dad had lung cancer. And one of the cool things that the show has enabled me to do, or enabled our family to do, is capture incredible moments with my dad. So my first year, I wasn't part of the show, but then the second year, Friday Night Thunder definitely captured some really cool moments. And one of those moments that they actually captured and ended up showing in a later season was my first win with my dad by my side, which was a pretty special moment.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that.
Obviously, like you said it yourself there, the crew from Friday Night Thunder has definitely become like a family to you guys and to your team. I guess one of the things I think is always funny, because with some of the stuff that I catch on camera, and you can't always use it because it's either inappropriate or whatever happens, is, have you noticed that maybe your team has had to step back from how they usually act around you, or because of the cameras, or are they still the same?
Yeah, so there's an interesting thing that happens and occurs at the racetrack, and so that with my friends around me and even my crew, you're always conscious, or they are always conscious, that they're on camera. And so if they would, it was a little bit of an adjustment, and I had to like kind of push my friends along a little bit to open up a little more, and it's okay to be a little bit unfiltered, but at the same time, they wouldn't come and visit me. They didn't want to, have those silly, goofy moments, or all those types of moments caught on camera. And so I had to actually like talk to them and sit people down and say, "Hey, it's okay. Come chat with me. Come hang out with me. 99% of what they capture is going to be cut anyways. And the 1% that they're going to get is probably going to be gold, and it'll be a lot of fun, and you'll get a good kick out of it." So in the last year or so, I really noticed that those people, my friends that kind of shied away a little bit from the camera, have been coming around a lot more. When it comes to capturing moments on camera and do we change, one of the funniest things that's occurred is just when my wife, who's also basically my partner when it comes to the race team, she actually helps me run the race team and do everything. She's basically the manager of the team. Well, when we disagree, that's really interesting. Friday Night Thunder's captured that a couple times where we might be in each other's face, really angry at one another or angry at the situation or whatever, and we'll kind of stop and go, hold on, we're on camera, let's go into the trailer, and they'll capture it from a distance. So it's just kind of, part of being married and part of being a couple, and sometimes we argue or sometimes we disagree, or we wish that one another would have went about a situation in a different way. That's a lot of fun, and plays a unique role in our relationship because you always have to have your game face on when you're on a show like this. You can never have an off day, or you try not to have an off day. So you're always playing a role, I would say. And our relationship is like that, where we kind of, as a couple, have to play a bit of a role on camera. Not that it's fake or anything, but we're just very sensitive to how we act and how we argue or disagree or support one another. So that's been a lot of fun.
Is there any specific moments that you think fans can look forward to in this upcoming season?
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of drama in the seasons, but in particular with me. I get in a bad wreck, and I'm not going to spoil too much, but the really cool thing is you see what kind of family atmosphere racing really has, where I had destroyed a car. I wrecked really bad Friday night at Schweeken, and I thought my season was done at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and this is all caught by Friday Night Thunder. And at 10 p.m., one of my great friends, Jamie Turner, approached me. I actually run out of his race shop and said, hey, do you want to build the car tomorrow morning? Because I had a race that Saturday night. And I thought about it. And well, you have to tune in to Friday Night Thunder to see what ends up happening. But it's a pretty cool story.
I'm excited for that.
Oh, yeah. I think I know which one you're talking about, because I remember, because I've been following your racing page for a little bit now, and I think I know which weekend you're talking about. So I'm actually really excited for that one now. Because obviously I can see one side of it from what you guys post on social media, but obviously it's a lot different behind the scenes. It's the conversations with your partners, your crew, people you know, and obviously we're not privy to that. So hopefully we see that. I'm sure we will see that on Friday Night Thunder in this upcoming season. But it's honestly, it seems like to me, like it's really one of those great shows. I feel like it needs more, like needs to be talked about more. Right? It seems like y'all have a great time. There's drama, there's great action, there's highs, you see the lows. We see that in the promos. I've watched, I think, all the promos now a handful of times each, and I'm still like I'm so like I don't know which way they're going with their footage or what they're doing with the season, and which I really like because it makes me want to tune in. And to me, it's just one of those. It's well, obviously great from Friday Night Thunder that I've been really enjoying this little bit of a partnership we've had where we're able to talk with guys like yourself to really get an idea of what fans can expect from season 3. And
I would say
to bring more awareness,
one of the things that Friday Night Thunder does is it really captures the true grit of racing. And what I mean by that is like the struggles you go through, the highs and the lows, and just the amount of sacrifice that we as racers have to make to get to get to the track, let alone be successful or competitive. So I really love that about the show is they're able to capture not only that true grit, but that family atmosphere that racing affords us. It's unlike anything else I've been a part of.
Speaking of highs, what has been one of your greatest moments so far?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit. Nothing will ever touch my first win. And I know first wins are special for everyone, if you're ever to have that experience. But for me, my first win was a lot more than just being competitive in a sprint car. It was about doing it with my dad. Like we had built this thing with no knowledge of racing, no experience in racing. I was 33 at the time, jumping in a car. I'd never raced a go-kart, never raced anything, never sat in a race car.
Damn.
And really learned the ropes our first year. And then second year, we come out kind of guns a-blazing and having a great year. And just all that experience and practice I got in my first year really helped, obviously. And my dad was really sick. Like we knew it was terminal. We knew that he was in a really tough spot. And so it was just him and I still working on the car with our friends Nick and Cassidy, my wife Amy, of course. My brother Sam was helping out quite a bit too. But to have that moment for my dad to be at Merrittville Speedway and the night that I won, as soon as I got out of the car, I didn't even go to do my interview. I didn't go to grab the checkered flag. I looked for him. He was getting off the four-wheeler. I hugged him and we both started bawling and just started crying. And it's the greatest sporting moment of my life. And I've had some pretty incredible ones through, playing in the NCAA championships, like playing semi-pro lacrosse, and but nothing will ever touch that. It's the greatest memory that I could ever have asked for.
Literally gives me goosebumps. Like that's holy.
That's you know what? That's obviously there's nothing like getting to victory lane and having your dad there, and with everything going on at the time, it obviously meant a lot to you, and that's it's obviously a great story, right? That's what we like to hear. And frick, man, you just made me like you just had it like took me on an emotional roller coaster there. I'm gonna be honest.
I teared up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
But we're having. I know okay. So first things first is I would like to invite you back on to have a full episode because I feel like we need to dive in a hell of a lot more. These little snippets I want to kind of keep around 45 minutes long. So we're almost done. We're not there yet, but I want you to talk to us real quick. Just go over briefly about how you got involved in racing before, like, were you a fan just growing up at Ohsweken Speedway before you got in the car? How did your interest in racing get started?
Yeah, so racing came from my dad. My dad was basically a lay NASCAR fan. So once in a while, usually on Sundays, we would lie around on the couch when I was a kid and fall asleep to the NASCAR race, wake up for the last 10 laps. Then my mom and dad took me to Flamborough for the Enduros in the 90s quite a bit. And I always looked forward to that. I love that. And then it was my mom who introduced me to Ohsweken Speedway, and not only Ohsweken, but I saw the Southern Ontario Sprints for the very first time. And I had seen sprint cars before, but it was limited on TV. There was an old channel called TNN, like a long time ago, that would show various forms of motorsports, including the World of Outlaws. And I remember I was maybe 8 or 9, and my dad showed me these World of Outlaws, and he goes, "These are the baddest ass cars that exist. There's nothing more extreme than a 410 sprint car." And I always had that like kind of branded into my brain, and I always remember that. So the first time that I saw the Southern Ontario Sprints, the 360 Sprints, at Ohsweken would have been when I was about 12 or 13 years old, I think. And I was in awe right away. I was like, this is the greatest spectacle I've ever seen. And I had gone to like old cast car races. I've gone to Enduros, and I had gone to NASCAR races with my dad, but this stuck. This something clicked and with me on sprint cars. And so when I got my license, I just started going. I was born and raised in Waterloo, Ontario, so about an hour from Ohsweken. And so when I got my license, I just started going Friday nights by myself to Ohsweken. And actually, one of my first dates with my now wife was to Ohsweken Speedway. It was kind of like, you're gonna like this, or it's not gonna work out. And of course, I'm kidding, but she fell in love with it too. And yeah, it all stemmed from my parents introducing me to the local short tracks. And I was always a fan of like vintage modifieds. I thought late models were really cool. My dad also worked at Cambridge Rigging, which John Fitzpatrick owns, and that's where J.R. Fitzpatrick, that's his dad, John. So we knew the Fitzpatricks growing up, and we'd always go check them out on the CASCAR scene, and that was a lot of fun. And so that's basically where my racing got its hooks into me.
That's awesome. That's a kick-ass like intro story there. I love that. But like I said, Allan, I would love to bring you back on at a later date and do an actual full interview. But I think we're gonna get into our fan question period. Whereas you saw earlier today, we posted up on Facebook and Instagram that you were joining us, and we got some fan questions for you. Ready to answer them?
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right, Megan, take it away.
Alrighty. Okay. First, Laura asked, put the following in order of difficulty: earning a PhD, learning 360 sprint car setups, learning crate car setups, making a movie, writing a book, and being a dad.
Laura's trying to throw in all the things, that different hats I wear. I appreciate that. Yeah. So by trade, I'm a professor. I teach at McMaster University in the Department of History and Indigenous Studies program. I would say being a dad is so enjoyable. I don't find it difficult at all. So that's definitely at the bottom of the list. At the top of the list right now, learning a 360 sprint car and the setups has got to be one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. The other things that Laura mentioned, like earning a PhD, okay, it's tough. It was 6 years of just the PhD program, but you take little nibbles at it, and you work your way, and it's like steps, and it's not, you don't get thrown to the wolves right away. Where a 360 sprint car, you get put in, and there's no practice, and there's no one to hold your hand or guide you along. Not while you're in that car. So it's been one of the most challenging things I've ever done. And that's not to discount everything else, but it's not to discount a PhD or the crate sprints or being a dad or anything like that. But it's definitely been trying, and it's definitely been one of the greatest challenges I've ever faced in my life, in a positive way. I love it. I hate it, but I love it, and there's a reason I keep going back every week. It's a blast, even when it's frustrating.
Okay. Her next question is, do you sleep, and if so, when?
Yeah, so I have a lot of great people surrounding me, and so I would say any part of my success is not a reflection of what I am doing, but those around me and those who support me. So first and foremost, my wife Amy, who's again my partner in this racing deal, is right in there and managing our race team, and making sure that I'm in a good headspace, making sure that the team is put together and ready to go, and that nights go well for us, and really sacrifices a lot. And my success in racing, what little success or whatever success I've had, is a lot due to her and to everybody else around me. My in-laws help, so it's a family atmosphere. So my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, come to the racetrack every Friday night. My good buddies Nick and Cassidy are there as our crew, but Amy's always that rock that is, you know, the cornerstone of our race team. So I think that, you know, having those people around me is really important and significant. And the same with my academic life and professional life. I'm just surrounded by really brilliant, great people that want to see you succeed. So that's really helpful.
Mm-hmm. And the last question from Laura is, what's your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. I'm not. I don't know what I want to say. No, screw it. You know, I don't mind a bath bomb once in a while. A good bath bomb is when you've had a tough week or whatever, you throw that bath bomb in and things melt away.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
John, was there 2 from Rob Twitchett?
No, just 1.
Okay. Oh, that okay. Rob Twitchett said, if you could go back and tell the rookie version of yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
That's a great question. I really appreciate that. I would say soak it up. Soak up every moment. Because you never know, like, you don't know how quickly this could all end. And it's a blast and it's a lot of fun, but man, does it go by fast. Like, race nights can be really intense, competition can be really intense. If there was anything that I would tell myself 5 years ago when I started this whole thing, it's like, soak up those moments, those highs, and try not to worry too much about the lows, because they are temporary. They really are. So any new race car driver, but usually it's sprint car drivers that I'm chatting with, when they first step into the car, and right now we actually have a crew of our crew members at Team Turner Racing are actually racing a sprint car, a crate sprint, for the very first time, and they're rotating. And the first thing I say to them is just soak up that moment. Soak up that moment of getting in the car and the adrenaline and the rush of it all. Because you don't know how long it'll last. And if it'll last, it won't last forever. And so, yeah, just trying to soak up those moments, whether it be with my family, my dad, that, you know, we get brought together every week by this thing, this passion. And that's pretty cool, because we often don't have enough excuses to get together. And yet here we have one. Soak it up.
That's great advice. And William_Trillium said, what has been your favorite racing memory?
Yeah, so I'll share another one. I've had a few, you know, I've been fortunate enough. I think my first full point season, which would have been with the Action Sprint Tour, the traveling series, would have been in 2022. 2019 was my rookie season. 2020 was COVID, and we didn't really have a season. We just had like exhibition races kind of thing. And then the following year was only a touring series. Auschwitz was closed. That is a summer I'll remember for the rest of my life, just because we were traveling all over Ontario, from Cornwall down to South Buxton and just outside of Chatham, and traveling with the other crate sprint car drivers for this championship. We ended up finishing second in the championship. We went on this incredible run all summer long. I just couldn't make a wrong turn. But you know, going to the hotels and hanging out and having breakfast or lunch with the other drivers and their crews and their families, it was a lot of fun. We had a blast that summer, just traveling up and down the road. And it doesn't sound like that big of a deal to do that, but it's like for most of the grassroots racers, we don't often to get to do that all that much because it's just so expensive. But we were kind of forced into a position with COVID to have to do that if we wanted to race. But they also, it was a limited schedule as well, so we didn't have to do it, 6, 7 times a month. We could do it for 3, 4 times a month, and it made it somewhat reasonable. So that was a blast. That was so much fun to have that opportunity just to hang out with everyone and travel and pretend we were like a big shot World Outlaw team. It was pretty cool.
It is cool.
I mean, it's always fun when you get to travel and, when you and your guys are together, and you're right. It feels like you're a professional team. You feel more professional and when you do that. But that is our tailored to you media and design fan question period. We want to thank Allan for taking the time to answer those questions. Of course, we got to thank everyone else for submitting them questions. Make sure you guys tune in every week to find out who our next guest will be and to where to submit those questions. With that being said, Allan, I said I didn't want to take too much of your time up tonight, but one, I would like because we got a couple more minutes here. What is give us I always have a good spiel here, and I feel like I'm blanking on it tonight. I'm gonna give you the next couple minutes here where you can thank anyone and everyone, from a dog you had when you were 2 to maybe a cat when you were 16 to whatever. It is your time to shine. Thank your sponsors, thank your family and friends. The floor is yours.
Oh, well, yeah, we've been really fortunate to have some great sponsors over the years, and this year we had Henson Shaving jump on board. I definitely recommend checking them out. They make a great gift. They're kind of a really kind of a nice high-end razor for people in your lives that it makes a great Christmas gift or whatever it might be. And Schmuck Truck, DNR Automotive, Bent Kitchens, Inline Electric, Christopher's Gelato, and Flexivit. I really appreciate all the support that we get from our sponsors. They enable us to be able to go up and down the road and to stay here at home at Oshwegan and have a competitive season and a competitive car. As for thanking everyone else, it's just I gotta thank my crew and my in-laws and my wife Amy for everything that they do, and I put them through a lot. I'm a really high-strung kind of intense individual on race night, and it's just my personality. I'm really, really competitive, and it eats at me, and sometimes it shows through a little bit. And so I just want to say I appreciate them putting up with me, and to Friday Night Thunder, thank you for the family that you've become and that you are. It's been such an amazing ride. I hope to keep it going for many more seasons.
All right, well, you guys can catch the brand new season of Friday Night Thunder featuring Allan Downey this starting September 8th on APTN. And of course, Allan, we got to thank you for joining us here on the True North Racing Podcast this week, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you later, okay? And now we're back after a conversation with Allan. I had a lot, even though it was really quick, an hour, in my opinion. I don't think we ever have a conversation this short with one of our guests, and it always feels a little weird when we have these little short conversations. But we definitely hope you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying so far our lead up to Friday Night Thunder Season 3 premiere on APTN on September 8th at 8:30 p.m. And we're not done yet. We're still at this point when we're recording this, we're still finalizing a couple more guests. But we're going to keep them secret until the day of recording or the day of the show. I don't know yet, but we'll definitely by the day of the recording, because we can't really hold that back with our fan question period. But Megan, before we head out, we know your car is ready. we know you've been practicing. I have a question. Are you behind the wheel this Saturday night at Flamborough Speedway?
Yes, I am.
How excited are you to get back behind the wheel of the stock car?
I'm excited and I'm nervous. Like I was telling you off air, that whole Allan's answer to Rob Twitchett, that kind of brought me some calm, because I'm like, that's very true and I need to keep that in mind. So I'm nervous. I'm starting back at square one. I thought about putting a rookie stripe on my car, even though I'm not technically a rookie, but mentally I'm a rookie. But it should be all good. Everything should be okay. Everything will be okay.
It definitely will be okay. I don't know what we're gonna be up to just yet, but I don't think we're gonna make it out to Flamborough this weekend. I gotta figure out what Jack and I are up to. Maybe we're gonna go to Maryville. But when you guys hear this, Megan will have run her first race since the end of the 2021 season. So good luck this weekend, Megan. We're gonna be cheering you on regardless. You know we're just a message away at all times. We look forward to seeing how you do, and I'm excited to see you back in the car.
Thank you.
Now, I'm looking forward to whooping your butt in a few weeks.
I'm hoping I have a little more practice by then, but we'll see.
Hey, I get one practice session of alone time before
Yeah.
other cars start getting thrown on there. So, but I think that's going to do it for us this week. We hope you guys enjoyed our little Friday Night Thunder preview with Allan Downey. Make sure you guys tune in each week to the True North Racing podcast. Make sure every Sunday we definitely have a guest on currently. But make sure you guys tune in, find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also obviously the website joemedia.ca. We appreciate all the views and the clicks that we get. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, help us out. We definitely see it on our end. We love it. We love promoting racing. We love talking about it. We got some more things going on here in the next little bit where I'm excited about. I personally got to sit down and figure out how I'm mentally going to do this. But we got some great things coming down the chute. But make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you guys follow us. Stay up to date on where I'll be, where Megan will be. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed another episode of the True North Racing podcast. I definitely know I did. So from Megan Mitchell, I'm John Morrison. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.
Yes.
Car zooming by, hey, True North Racing, let's go.